10, 11 slabs in a single file line. Pockets full of money. That's how we do it in the summertime. All these players got a bad woman on the side, and her diamonds ain't monkey. Yeah. Summertime in my city. Ain't nobody tripping. Summertime in my city. We just feeling. Summertime in my city. Ain't no different love. Summertime in my city. Every hood is like a club.
It's summertime in my city, man. It's a bunch of fine dimes looking pretty, man. I'm trying to take a few with me, man. Hoping HPD don't come get me, man. You know what's pulled up, you know what's rolled up. It ain't a summer, Slim Thugger ain't showed up. Spin a mansion with Johnny May, go up. Everywhere we go, everybody know us. Hood superstars like candy on the cars. When you see them foes, you gon' know it's them Texas boys. It's summertime in the city, time to show up. We hit the club, watch how many bottles blow up.
10, 11 slabs in a single file line.
This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown, we not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they bout to stampede.
What's up, everybody? Happy 713 day. We had to kick it off with a great intro by BT. BT, bro, that was fantastic. Guys, welcome to the Texans Fan Battle podcast by Fan Battle Sports. We got a special guest, but before I introduce him, let me introduce the amazing trio. Of course, it's me, Matthew, and then I got my boy BT. What's up, bub?
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
And then always, my A1 since day one down there in Mexico, I got Mr. Crenshaw.
What's the damn deal?
All right, guys, we got a special guest for the house. If you listen to ESPN 975 in Houston, you know this guy very well. Part of the Killer Bees, Mr. Jeremy Branham. Hey, what's going on, man?
Not a lot. I'm happy to be on with you guys. You guys kill it on Twitter, by the way. I see so much stuff from you guys that that either we talk about on the show, turn it into a segment. Y'all do produce content after content. So it's an honor for me to be on with you guys.
That's BT. We got a running joke that he does not sleep. I think it's the truth because that the man is just a content machine. So
BT, did I read right that you live in Florida though?
I do. I live in Florida.
What part?
Naples.
Oh, okay. I go to Orlando and Tampa a couple times a year. I guess Naples is not close there though, right?
No, Naples is down south. We have the best beaches and the least amount of sharks. So I like it down here.
And I'm in Sucksville, Kansas City. So
really?
Yes.
Oh, that's too bad.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree.
You have inferior barbecue then.
Yes. Everybody's like, oh no, it's not. No, I get in fights quite frequently about the barbecue up here. So
yeah, I would be fighting too.
All right. Well, Jeremy, are you ready to talk some NFL news with us?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. All right. As you can tell from our bumper, Quinnen Williams got paid today. Jeremy, I'll kick it off with you. What do you think? You think that's enough or too much?
Yeah, I think it seems about right? Like, the Jets are in win now mode. You bring in Brett Favre. What am I talking about? You bring in Aaron Rodgers, and you have to make moves like this, right? If you're bringing in Aaron Rodgers, you got to keep your best players that are really good. You're expecting to be a Super Bowl now team. You're supposed to win now immediately. You think Aaron Rodgers is going to be there longer than a year? Maybe. Longer than 2 years? Probably not. Quinnen Williams still 4 years, but you know how often players in the NFL reach the length of that contract. So you got to bring in your own. You got to keep your guys that are really good whenever you make a move like Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, I thought it was about right. I thought it was fair. I think he gets his. He's happy. Jets are happy. Everybody's happy going into camp and Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. Especially when it's homegrown, right? Like the guy you drafted, you want to keep him happy so he can stay there a long time. BT, what about you?
I think we all knew that it was coming. The question really was going to be what the deal was going to be. I didn't get all the details. I just know it's $96 million. I think everyone predicted it was going to be between 80 and 100. It was how close to that 100 million is it going to be? And what I agree with you, Jeremy, that Aaron Rodgers is probably only going to be there for a year. I don't expect him to really be there for 2 years. We know that if he doesn't win a Super Bowl this year, it's going to be another will he, won't he situation, right? At the end of the season, he's going to have to go in his hole of darkness in his cave and decide whether he's going to come back. So this is really the year that they have to throw everything they can on the table to see if they can actually win. And they did the right thing. I know some people, even some Texans fans, not many of them, but some thought, hey, there's a chance we could get him. I knew from day one they were going to solidify this. They have to. He's worth it, and they're trying to get a ring, and rightly so. And I think they got a shot.
Crenshaw, I'll kick it off with you. What about you?
Yeah, it was a good move. They did what we should have did to our guy a couple years ago and let him go to Cincinnati, but that's a different story. Like I say, they ain't win now, Mo. I don't think they're going to win, but, you know, the fans are happy. The fans are talking. We talking about it, so it's a great move by the Jets.
The AFC's loaded, isn't it? Like we were talking about this the other day. AFC teams that didn't make the playoffs last year that could make the playoffs this year. And it's like, okay, the Jets are at the top of that list. Depending on what you think about Deshaun Watson, the Browns are probably at the top of that list. But who are they replacing? Like who's dropping? If we're adding the Jets and the Browns as playoff teams, who's leaving? Who's outside?
Probably the Chargers.
Maybe. That was mine.
Yeah, the Chargers, and I don't know who the other team would be. But I can put Denver high on that list as well, though.
Yeah, it's a team that can make it. The Chargers are weird, though, because, like, I like their roster. I just hate Brandon Staley. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, their roster's good. I would like to have their roster. I don't like their coach.
All right, the same here. And I mean, I love me some Justin Herbert, but he's slowly turning into Philip Rivers. You know, just the kind of the crybaby. You know, hopefully, you know, his how to say this PG. His way of getting out of stuff is a lot better than Philip Rivers, because Philip Rivers just had announced his 10th kid will be on the way. So
that's what you mean by getting out of.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to be PG about it. You know, I don't want to be like BT and be Texans After Dark. So, you know, I had a PG it.
Well, Philip Rivers, if you're listening, I can show you my doctor because he did a good job on me, vasectomy. So, just throwing it out there.
I mean, he's got one more. He's got a squad, right?
Right, and both sides, right? Iron Man football. You know, he went back and forth. All right, well, guys, I know BT's a space freak when it comes to Twitter. Jeremy, do you pay attention to the spaces on Twitter?
You know, I tried to early on. Like, I would pop in every now and then on whenever I was driving home, and I would just listen. I haven't done it in a while. Is it worth my while to do it? Is it worth my while to pop in every now and then and listen to see what's going on?
Well, obviously there's some Twitter beef going on between Sauce Gardner and how you say his first name? Asante Samuel.
Yeah.
On the spaces, and brought in Gardner-Johnson as well. So I mean, it's getting pretty spicy. Did you hear about that, Jeremy? Or
I saw a bunch of the tweets. I didn't know that it went to spaces. That's pretty cool. I love drama, especially in sports.
BT, you want to fill us in the drama? Because I know a little bit about it, but not much.
So let me tell you what happened. So basically what happened was Asante Samuels first started and saying that Sauce Gardner shouldn't have essentially been an All-Pro, and that was New York media that was hyping everyone up, and that's why he became All-Pro. And personally, I agree with that, right? Like, I'm not saying he's not talented. Sauce Gardner is completely talented, no doubt about it. But I think that other individuals didn't get their flowers because the Jets are in New York, and you're going to get that type of media. So if you look at Tariq Woolen, he had 6 interceptions. He had a great season, but no one's really talking about him because he's from Seattle. I said the same thing about Jalen Petrie. I feel like he should have been at least a Pro Bowler, but he didn't get looked at because he's a Texan. The Texans won 3 games. Who's looking at the Houston Texans, last season? Yes, he got 145 tackles and 5 interceptions. I think Sauce got 2? So 2 interceptions. So yeah, I do think even though Sauce is great, that this is something I agree with Asante Samuels. But then he went on a little too far. So then he said, what's up with Revis? Like, why is he a Hall of Famer? I mean, are you kidding me? Like, you're really gonna say a Hall of Famer? And now when it went back and forth, where Revis was like, this guy's not a Hall of Famer, he's pissed. Then it went to spaces. So Darius Slay started a space. He ended in about 10 minutes. Sauce Gardner started up again. Why? Because CJ Gardner, who got released, Gardner-Johnson. He got released, right? And him and Sauce were going back and forth at it. And on the space, and the reason, and Gardner-Johnson was calling Sauce, listen, son, and Sauce was getting all that. It's like, watch with the S word, watch with the S word. So basically, they're all talking about who's the best DB, why they're getting the flowers, and essentially it was some DBs were saying you're not as good as everyone says you are because of New York, and Sauce is like, I can't control where I got drafted, I just play, and so that's really what the drama was. So I can understand his side of it, but I understand the beginnings of what Asante Samuel says, which is Sauce Gardner, who really wasn't getting called on his holding calls, right? They let a lot go. I think he gets a lot more attention because it's from New York. And I think that if other players like Tariq Williams, Jalen Petrie didn't get their flowers because of where they were either drafted to, where they played, etc. And that's really what it started. And it went to Twitter Spaces where 10,000 people were listening, literally 10,000 people. So it was kind of just interesting to see, this is kind of better than Hard Knocks because it's no editing. People just screaming at each other, talking about their feelings live. So you should definitely pay attention every once in a while.
So 10,000 people. How come they didn't sell tickets and hold this inside of Madison Square Garden?
Right? They sold out.
They missed an opportunity here.
Well, they did say they was coming to Houston. They did say that part.
Did they?
Oh yeah.
Toyota Center. Let's go round two. Let's sell some tickets. Let's get some people inside. Let's get a gate. Right. I agree with the macro approach. I agree with the macro take. I think you're naive if you don't think that New York athletes get more cachet than pretty much everywhere else. You bring up the Jalen Petrie example. It's a good one. The Woolen example. It's a good one. I don't know if I disagree. I don't know if I agree with the micro. I think Sauce Gardner was an all-pro. Do I think Jalen Petrie's a Pro Bowler last year? I think it's debatable, but I don't think he was a snub. So I agree with the big picture take that New York athletes get, I don't want to call it special treatment. Let's say more media attention, but I don't agree with the micro take about, Sauce Gardner being a non-all-pro, or especially not the Revis one. I mean, Revis probably the best corner we've seen since Dion. Is that fair to say?
Champ Bailey. I mean, there's a couple,
top tiers, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, at least top 5 all time, right? Easily.
I don't know so much about like the old days, right?
From a stat point of view, if you compare Asante, Samuel has more interceptions, forced fumbles, and touchdowns. But Rivers has more Pro Bowl appearances, more All-Pro selections, more fumble recoveries and tackles. So
I struggle with individual stats in the NFL because, if you're a cornerback and you get a lot of interceptions, that means they're throwing at you, right? And if you're a good corner, they're probably not throwing at you.
See, right? So
that's tough.
And also the longevity too, right? I think Asante Samuel played I think 20 or 30 more games than Darrelle Revis did. So I mean that's kind of unfair, right? Like you gotta be on the field to produce stats. So if he's on the field more, then he's gonna get more stats. It's just how the game goes.
But don't we appreciate longevity? Right. No, I appreciate longevity.
Yeah,
and it's good for Barry Sanders.
Yeah, Barry Sanders, Earl Campbell, Calvin Johnson. I mean, look at those guys. They're Hall of Famers as well.
I have a wild take when it comes to sports. You want to hear it?
Let's hear it.
I think there's a difference between best players of all time and best resumes of all time. I think this is the perfect example for this. Right. Emmitt Smith has a better resume than Barry Sanders.
Right.
Was Barry Sanders a better player than Emmitt Smith? I would argue that he was. Like you mentioned Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson was a better player than a lot of these guys that are going to go to the Hall of Fame because of longevity. So longevity absolutely matters. It just depends on what the conversation is, right? Are we talking the best resumes ever, Tom Brady? Or are we talking about the best players ever? I think a lot of people would argue that Peyton Manning was a better quarterback than Tom Brady. But Brady has a way better resume.
Right. I agreed. I mean, that's a fantastic look at it. I mean, you want the longevity, but you also want that once in a lifetime player, and that's Barry Sanders. I mean, just imagine if Barry Sanders was in Dallas and Emmitt Smith was in Detroit. I mean, you can it'd be almost a two-sided story, but you never know. Crenshaw, any takes on before we move on?
No, I think Marshall Faulk was better than all of them. That's my take.
You see who they're comparing Marshall Faulk to? Did you see what I think it was the GM that said that.
it was the dude in Detroit, right?
Jameer
The,
Gibbs,
yeah, I saw that, man. Like, come on,
That's a
man.
high bar for a rookie.
Now I am going to drop him in fantasy just because they said that.
You better draft them early because his general manager didn't do any favors if you're trying to get him on a late ADP because he's going to go early now. If he already was going early, but he's going to start getting drafted even earlier.
All right. Well, speaking of Hard Knocks and drama, anybody watch that new Netflix show QB? Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and I don't know why he's on there, but Marcus Mariota.
Absolutely.
Did you watch it?
I watched 2 episodes. I watched one last night. I was kind of in and out as I was falling asleep, and I finished it up earlier today when I got home, and then I was putting Branham baby down for a nap, and I watched the second one. How many episodes are there?
I think 8.
Okay,
so I'm with you. I'm like almost on episode 3. So
that's about where I'm at then.
Yeah,
I'm right about the same spot you are. It's
so
pretty good. I like it.
You like it? You think they should go on more?
I'm a sucker for these things. Like any behind the scenes NFL, like I watch those All or Nothings on Amazon. Like anything behind the scenes NFL, you're getting plays, you're getting regular season games. Like I watch all of it. I'm a junkie for that sort of stuff. So I like it. I actually think it's a little better than Hard Knocks. Like Hard Knocks is a tough show because there's so many people. No one wants to be on it. It's kind of real time because like what you're doing in this past week is going to air that following week. So it's very, very tough, I think, to put on a good show.
It can be dry. It can be dry at times, right? Like, I mean, there's not real, I get what
it's hard to get good storylines. That's why I think they went down to the fringe players and like, what's their backstory? To me, it's a lot of times it's not really football. Like here, you're getting Mahomes going up against Max Crosby, and they're face to face, and they're talking crap to each other. Like that to me is awesome. I love that. I can't get enough of that.
Yeah, I love this comment. It says, a Super Bowl QB, a vet, and a hospital patient walk into a Netflix special.
What did you feel about Cousins after watching the first 2 episodes?
I've always been a Kirk Cousins fan. I don't think he gets the love that he deserves. I think he gets shitted on because he can't win the big games. So I love Cousins, but it just makes me love him more because of he's the average Joe. That's just a great quarterback. I mean, the dude driving around a 2008 soccer van. Like, I mean, come on, man, it's fantastic.
Yeah, his wife was shopping at Kohl's. He's got Kohl's cash.
Right. Yeah. Like that's if I was Kohl's, I'd be calling up Kirk Cousins right now. Hey, man, let's bring it home.
I would say that it actually made me like Kirk Cousins much less than I did before, and I mean, and I'll tell you why. All right, because first of all, you're seeing Patrick Mahomes out there. So when Patrick Mahomes is getting hurt, right? When so I'm on episode 4, so I'm 1 episode ahead of you guys, but so he was talking about how Condor, Max Crosby, comes at him every single play, whether he's getting him a sack or not. He's just hitting him every single time he can. He gets a chance. He wants to take a shot at him. That's what you do. You're a D lineman. You're trying to get after the quarterback. And the thing is, Mahomes gets angry and he produces, right? Like, so he gets angry and he's like, all right, I'm going to figure out how to score on this. Like, how can I still take my team to the next level? Kirk Cousins, what does he do? Well, he was getting hit a lot, right? That is like, like that Washington game and back to back, right? So he had that bad Washington game and he comes out and he gets hit hard. He got the wind knocked out of him. And he throws directly to a Bills DB. I forget who it was, right? The game after the Washington game. And he throws directly to the DB because he said he thought it was Justin Jefferson. So he got so pissed that he got hurt that he literally can't think straight. And so it shows that basically he can't produce when he's getting hit and when he's on the limelight versus Patrick Mahomes, who's getting hit and he's like, fuck you, I'm going to win this game. Right? What do you say there? I'm fucking here. Right? Like that's what you want on a football team. You know what Kirk Cousins was saying when he was getting hurt? He's like, players were coming up to me and asking me about a play, and I didn't even want to listen to him. I just wanted him to go away. Like that's not what a leader is. Right? He was not a leader. He was so worried about the stuff that was happening to him that he wasn't being a leader. And I disliked him more and more and more as I'm on the 4th episode. with Patrick Mahomes, I like him even more if that was possible. And I'm not hating on Brittany Mahomes either now. Now she's all cool. So honestly, Patrick Mahomes, Brittany, you invite me over for dinner. I might try to cook something for you. It might be eggs, but I'll cook something for you.
Look, I hope I know Patrick Mahomes not listening, but that's one bathwater I would drink from is Brittany Mahomes. Oh my God, she is a good looking woman.
Yeah,
but,
she's definitely good looking. But let me just say, Kirk Cousins' wife is more annoying than Kirk Cousins. That's all I'm going to say. More annoying than Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins' wife catching strays. Gummy bear.
What? You must take dogs and kittens. Like, for real.
I did see a funny picture because we saw I hadn't seen that episode yet. So that's I think it's a strong take. I like that take, even if I don't necessarily agree. But I haven't seen that episode, so I can't really comment. But the Kirk Cousins' house seemed very modest, didn't it? And then I saw a picture today that he had like the TV in the corner of the room.
Yeah.
And like that was kind of bizarre. Like, who puts the TV in the corner of the room? If I had strong Kirk Cousins takes, I'd be like, what are you doing, Kirk? Why is the TV in the corner of the room? That's weird.
Yeah.
It's why he didn't see straight. Although he did win 13 games last year. I mean, he's pretty good last year.
And that's kind of going back to what we were saying, right? Kind of a little bit what you're saying, Jeremy. There's a resume, and then there's the actual player. That's the same thing with Kirk Cousins. Like, you have a once in a lifetime talent, and then you just have a good quarterback.
Yeah,
so, I mean, they're built different. And Patrick Mahomes is this. I'm gonna say it, he's gonna be probably the greatest player in NFL history when his career is over with. The dude's just a beast. I mean, the stuff he does with the football, you will never see again. So it's hard to,
Is Pat Mahomes like? Is he already like? I know he's got to do the counting numbers and build up the resume, but on the field, is Pat Mahomes already the best product we've seen it as a quarterback?
Close to
yeah.
it.
I think he is.
Yeah,
I think he's the best. I think what he does is better than what Brady did, right?
I think he has the opportunity. I mean, I don't know if you want to hit the hot take on this one, but I think there's an opportunity here if Kansas City gets in another, not even a Super Bowl, but a championship, at this point, like just a conference. I think there's an argument to be made that he is going to be better than Tom Brady when his career is done, that he could potentially win more rings. And even if he doesn't necessarily win more rings, that he could still be a better quarterback overall. But
he's going to be better than Peyton, better than Drew, better than Tom. Like, his playing style is going to be by far.
Let me phrase it this way.
Best.
You have a team. You already have a team ready to go. All you need is a quarterback. You're going to play tomorrow. If you win, you live. If you lose, you die. That one game, you go on Mahomes, you go on Brady.
Mahomes every day.
Okay. Is a game outside? What the weather's like? I need all that information first.
That's a good question, because if it's cold, you're probably going Brady, huh? Like ice and snow.
I mean, KC's pretty icy and snow too.
Well, I was just going to say, it's not like it's not Miami. I mean, I don't think that factors in as much as you may think, frankly.
If it's like a Super Bowl type of game, though, it's probably going to be in a climate control, right?
Right.
So if my life is on the line, I'm hoping it's in a dome. And
I'm saying, I'm taking Mahomes on a bad ankle. I mean, look what he did against the Eagles on a bad ankle. Like, it's Mahomes for me.
I'd rather die with Mahomes than Brady.
Chris, so what do you have you seen it? What do you think about it?
I'm on episode 0.
Good episode, man. Great episode.
Yeah. See, like, I'm more of a binge watcher, so I gotta wait till it's all done, and then I just go and
it's
look
all
at
out
it and
there. It's
everything.
all out there.
It is because it's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I need to catch up on that. I look at Patrick Mahomes as like LeBron and Brady as Jordan, and people still not gonna put Mahomes over Brady because the love of Brady, like the love of Jordan. But I think Mahomes is going to be the best quarterback of all time. That's because he's fucking phenomenal. And I wish we would have drafted him, but Kansas City jumped over us. That's a different topic, a different day right there. Because he did say that he thought he was going to Houston. I remember that interview right there, and that's who we wanted. And we had to settle with this other guy that's in Cleveland, but that's a different story.
I like that comp, the Jordan, LeBron, Mahomes, Brady. I think that's good.
Yeah, I mean, pretty accurate, right?
Yeah.
On the money.
All right, folks. Well, let's jump to why we're here.
What's the deal, right? Ride with me if you're.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button there. Texas news. Jeremy, I don't know if you heard this or not, but CBS Sports claims that Bobby Slowick will be the X factor for the Texans. Did they get that right?
Yeah, I was reading this story the other day. It might have been today. I don't remember. It's hard for me to pick somebody else. Like, it's so difficult to have any idea what this offense is going to look like. Like, you can kind of get a feel of the defense. I mean, D'Amico was a DC last year for the number one defense in the NFL. We've seen a defensive coordinator for San Francisco go coach elsewhere and kind of see what that looks like with the Jets. I have no idea what Bobby Slowick's going to be.
Something new, something fresh, right? Like it's a surprise of what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's tough to put an OC in front of like CJ Stroud. Like, what if he's rookie of the year? Like, all of a sudden he's the X factor. We were discussing on the show today. Like, I have no idea what the wide receiver depth chart is going to look on this team. If you had to put the top wide receivers in order from most receptions to fewest receptions and just pick your top four, I went. Who did I don't even remember. I went Mechie, Nico, Tank, Woods. I don't think Robert Woods is going to have a huge impact on this team. And I think they're going to want to play the young players too, to kind of build around some of the young nucleus, see what they have in Nico.
That's what I've been saying this whole time. Crenshaw and BT's been calling me crazy. I said there might be a slight possibility that Woods does not make the 53 roster. That's why I said.
See, I've been wondering if he's going to be Cecil shorted. I don't think it's going to go that far. Like, I think that because if you cut him now. I mean, the Texans did this with Cecil Shorts. It was one of the issues with Cecil is like, well, if they cut Cecil, there's not an adult in the room, and they cut Cecil anyways. So do they go that same route? I mean, different regime, all that. It's not the same people. I think Robert Woods makes the team. Like, I can't imagine how there's 5-6 receivers better than Robert Woods that they decide to keep and not Robert Woods. So I think he's on the team. I just don't think he plays a lot. I think he's more of the case
kind of a coach role. Yeah. Coach role. Yeah.
But I could be completely wrong. Maybe Robert Woods has 70 catches and leads the receivers in receptions. Like, that's possible. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, I have no idea what the wide receiver production on this team is going to be. If John Mechie, in his second year in the league, first year playing, he catches 75 passes, he's your X factor. Like, if Dalton Schultz is your red zone target and catches 7-8 catches in the end zone, he's your X factor. I'm kind of bullish on Devin Singletary in this offense. I think he can rack up a bunch of total yards. Pierce, I think, might be an injury liability. Hopefully not, but maybe just with his play style and the way that he runs. So I'm actually bullish on Singletary. But I have no idea what any of that looks like because I don't know what Bobby Slowick's going to be. We think he's going to be Shanahan. We think he's going to be McDaniel. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. So I think it's fair to call Slowick an X factor from that point of view because how he handles the offense and then how good he is going to be the determining factor on almost everybody we just talked about.
Look, I don't know if you can see it, Jeremy, but we can. Crenshaw's head is like growing bigger and bigger because he's been saying this whole time Devin Singletary is going to be RB1 and Pierce is going to come off the bench. So,
wow.
Thanks for making his head a lot bigger.
The take that I had, I don't know if it's so much a take, it's more of I could see this happening because it is injury dependent. I don't think that Singletary, let me tell you the take first. Devin Singletary more total yards than Dameon Pierce.
I can see that. A better catch out of the backfield. Yeah.
I don't.
But I do think it's going to require Dameon Pierce to get hurt, miss at least 4 games.
Okay. That's even more. I mean, it's not – that's something we don't want to happen, but I mean, I can see that. BT, what's your take?
Well, before I give my take, I just want to say keep the comments coming because we are giving a camp tickets out to a commenter today. So I see a lot of people commenting. Keep them up because we are picking someone, and it's going to be someone who comments on YouTube. So keep them coming. My take is that I think Bobby Slowick is the X factor, and I believe he's the X factor because, yes, Jeremy, I think that we don't know what he's going to be. I think we know what he wants to be, though. I think we know how he wants it to look like, right? It's all right. So this is what we know. We know CJ Stroud suffers under pressure. We know that Kenyon Green at left guard suffered last year. All right, he was terrible last year. We know that we have Juice Scruggs at center, and he's a rookie. So we know we have 2 positions on that O-line that potentially could be trouble. So you have an issue with CJ Stroud, who struggled under pressure last year, right? Dropped from 70% completion rate to 40% completion rate under pressure. So what do you got to do? Well, you can't give him 3-4 reads. You got to knock that down to about 2 reads, right? And a dump off, possibly, right? Dalton Schultz is a dump off, let's say. So you know that he's going to give him a shorter read time. Now the question is, they still keep him up for 3 seconds? Can he keep him upright for 3 seconds? If they can't, then what that means is he's going to have to let the ball out much shorter, which means we're going to see a bunch of 5-6 yard throws, and that's all we're going to see, right? If the line is straight, though, if the line can actually keep him up, that's when you're going to see a lot more play action. Then you're going to see a lot more 20-30 yard throws. So in all honesty, it really depends. Our season, honestly, and the way that Bobby Slowick can call anything depends on these two players. And the X factor is, if these two players aren't up to speed, then Bobby Slowick has to figure out something in a hurry to make sure we can still move the ball. Because even though that we have CJ Stroud, we made all of these changes, we can have a similar problem last year where Davis Mills wasn't able to move the ball, and we were the second to last in third down conversions because our interior line specifically, was not able to do their job. So that's why I think this is really important of what is Bobby Slowick going to do? Is he going to be able to figure that out? And that's the biggest question between our line. It's not even as much as up to CJ, because CJ can be a game manager and succeed if the line is strong under this type of scheme. But if the line isn't strong, we're kind of fucked without Bobby Slowick being a genius.
All right. Crenshaw.
Yeah, I agree. He's the X factor. We don't know who the hell he is, but if he is Shanahan, and damn near every quarterback in that system succeeded, and I feel like Coldridge is going to do phenomenal in that system. That offensive line, it does scare me. Kenyon Green, I might need to go to Humble and talk to him and see what the hell's going on over there, because he need to get that shit together. Yeah. But I'm still excited. Can't wait for training camp. And my hot take, since we own it, even though y'all didn't bring up a hot take, we're gonna win the division.
Wow. Okay. Well, my X factor, I agree with the room, Bobby Slowick, but I think one guy that could be the X factor is Tank Dell, because he can be utilized like Deebo Samuel, and Deebo is a great X factor, out of the backfield, quick screens, quick slants. I think Tank's a little bit shorter, but I think he can still pack that punch. So that's
we looked up some Tank Dell size and like other receivers in the NFL. Tank Dell is tiny. He's very small, but he's tough, one, and he's very elusive too. Like, he's really good at avoiding a lot of contact. Now, there's times he's going to get popped. I mean, you're a slot receiver in the NFL, you're going to get popped. But tough dude. He eludes a lot of contact, which is good. VT, like San Francisco, if you go with Shanahan, they throw a lot of short routes though, right? Like that's something that if he is a Shanahan guy, we're going to see a lot of short routes like you were talking about. And one thing that encourages me about, because I've seen some comparisons with Stroud and Deshaun Watson, which, I mean, I watched the Ohio State Georgia game the other day, and I can see why there's some, Stroud Watson comparisons. I think it's mostly when Stroud's improvising, though. Like, just run-of-the-mill, normal, boring 1st and 10. He's nothing like Deshaun, because he gets the ball out quick. He finds the open target. He makes good reads. So that's something that encourages me about, like, some of the concerns, because Stroud, you're right, under pressure was not good in college. But what encourages me is that he's looking to get rid of it quick. It's just his personality. It's in his DNA. And secondly, and we have no idea, but if Slowick is kind of the San Francisco protege, he's going to be looking at a lot of those short intermediate routes. And then, like you said, sprinkle in some play action whenever it's set up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I think 5-6 routes are the core of keeping the ball moving. But the thing is, you need someone that, when available, can make those 30-yard downfield throws, because sometimes you just need a big play. And the whole thing is, how can you do that when you don't have any protection? Like I said, 2.5 seconds and 3 seconds is a world of difference. That half a second is everything. And if you don't have that extra half second, you can't get those plays done. Now, of course, listen, everyone knows this. Everyone that knows me knows that Caleb Williams, if he was here, I'm not going to get into that whole big thing, but if he was here, he could take that 2.5 seconds that the line gives him and go run around for another 5 seconds, right? But we don't have that, right? So we know that. But in this type, we have the player that we have, and we need to be able to have that line support him, especially him being a rookie. We don't have the guy that can extend play for 5 seconds, right? Yeah. So that's why I'm so concerned about it.
Like I don't want a quarterback extending a play for 5 seconds. Right. Like I think you got to be able to win in the pocket in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And people, Mahomes can scramble. Mahomes played on 1 foot last year. Like he wasn't moving. And Mahomes can kill you in the pocket. Mahomes is great.
Mahomes don't have to scramble unless he has to.
Yeah,
that's his bread and butter.
But the offensive line has to be good to protect Stroud. But the offensive line also has to be good because they've used tons of capital, financial capital, and draft capital to build up the offensive line. Laremy Tunsil twice has been the most expensive left tackle in football. You've used first rounders on Titus, on Kenyon Green. You traded for Shaq Mason, and you used a second rounder on Juice Scruggs. Like this offensive line better be good. It better be good, or you're missing out on observations on these offensive linemen.
So I'm glad you said that because this is why I think it will. I know BT hates Kenyon Green and pretty much wants him off the team.
I don't hate him, Jesus Christ.
But like at the guard position, you do depend on a lot of the center. And BT's boy, what's his name?
Scott Quisenberry, my nemesis.
Quisenberry. He was just god awful. Drew Scruggs is the best pass blocker to come out of that draft. Tackle, guard, center. He was rated PFF, the best pass blocker in the draft. I think that's why we got him. To help teach Green, hey, this is what you need to do. I think that's going to take a lot of pressure off of Green and also of Shaq Mason. And also what we're forgetting is zone blocking. Zone blocking is a lineman's best friend. And I think that's going to help Juice come from the run game. I think he's going to, separate that a lot easier than it would if he was playing a different type of a scheme. So I think the offense – look, here's my hot take. The offensive line is going to be a top 8. I think
it has to be. Honestly, I think it has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen. All right. I think it should be, first of all. We're spending $66 million, right? That's the most in the NFL. So – if it's not a top 10 O-line, we fucked up somewhere, whether it's a roster construction, whether it's coaching, drafting, free agency, somewhere. Blame has to be spent somewhere if we're not a top 10 line this year. But I want to just address what you said, Matt. You're expecting a rookie to teach Kenyon Green? Think about what you're saying. If we need a rookie to teach a second-year 15th overall pick, right? Juice Scruggs was not a first-round pick. We're expecting Juice Scruggs, who was not a first-round pick, who is going to be a rookie, to teach Kenyon Green. Why the fuck did we pick Kenyon Green?
Well, it's not really it's different though. Like in the run block, Green was pretty great. It was the pass blocking where he sucked at. That's where he kept getting bull rust. So he knows how to run. It's not really teaching him, but I mean, give him. Hey, instead of doing this, do that. Hey, instead of doing this. That's what I'm saying. A center does more than just hike the ball. A lot of people just think it's hike the ball and block. It controls that whole offense. Like if the right side of the guard is fucking up, it's going to hurt him. If the left side, so it's a whole different. It's like the quarterback position, but for the line. Like the snap cadence, the audibles, he controls all that.
Yeah.
So I think TCU. Or not TCU, Penn State was not that bad offensive line last year. I think that has a lot to do with Juice Scruggs. I mean, he's rated top pass blocking for a reason. I just think he's going to help more than what Quisenberry did. And even Justin Britt, because Justin Britt completely, I don't know what happened to him. He just went AWOL and just disappeared. So I think Juice Scruggs brings in a different set of eyes and a different pace. And I think that's going to help Green. And plus he was hurt half the season too. So this is the time for Green to get everything together.
The problem is, and again, this is not me coming off as a hater. This is me coming off as someone that's questioning what we should expect because he's still hurt right now, right? He was hurt last year, but he's hurt now. He's recovering from both that knee surgery and as well as a shoulder injury. Last year, he had a shoulder injury, a knee injury, and a concussion. So for 2 years back to back, he's been injured. The question is he going to be healthy, and is he going to be out there on July 26th? Now, if he's out there on July 26th, I'm going to shut up and give him his time, right? But if he's not out there on July 26th, I'm going to be asking the questions, okay, who's taking his spot week 1? Because the whole point is that he needs to get better in order to prepare for this Ravens defense. And if he's not ready July 26th, someone's better take his spot. Because what happened last year is they didn't put him out week 1 because he wasn't ready because of the injuries. They can't force him and push him out there week 1 this year when you got a shiny new quarterback that can't get a season-ending injury in week 1, right? So if he's not ready to be better than he was last year, meaning be healthy and start training as of July 26th, sorry, man, you're going to be benched for a little bit until you get where you need to go.
I mean, I can see that he needs to be on the field, but I think a lot of his play will be determined by the rest of these guys. Scott Questenberry and Pep Hamilton did not help. Pep Hamilton did not help Davis Mills or him at all last year, but Davis Mills didn't help himself either. So now all the blame can go on Pep. But yeah, I agree with you. Go ahead. What's what?
So if Kenyon Green is not the guy, then who take his spot? VT
Patterson, potentially.
I think McCray might have a better shot, but
I mean, you could also have McCray, but I mean, the thing is that you have a competition. From what we looked so far from reporters, so far it looks like Patterson has been out there doing a decent job. I haven't heard the name McCray out there at all. Have you? Because I haven't read one thing of anything that I'm reading or on Twitter or actual articles mention.
I think I think I saw something where he's taking it easy because he's nursing an injury as well.
Okay, so I've only seen the Patterson being near Mecca. Now, obviously, there's no pads on, right? So take everything that's being saying up to this point with a grain of salt. But as of now, if Green is not out there, then I think it is Patterson at this point.
So, Jeremy, what's your take on the whole Green situation? That means BT is kind of.
I mean, it's his job until he proves that he's not healthy enough to have it. I agree with VT for a lot of what he said. I think it's very questionable that they picked him. I don't think VT's doing this for the record, but it's too early to tell the story of Kenyon Green's career. After one season, there's a lot of reason to be concerned. I thought they should have signed a veteran left guard that could be a swing guard in case Kenyon Green beats him out. It would have been Dalton Risner for me. I thought they should have signed him a long time ago. But the fact that they haven't, though, makes me think that they think Kenyon Green's going to be healthy for camp because – like you bring in Risner, he's your backup, he's your swing guard, he's your left guard, right guard. That's what you're signing him for. But he's also competing with Kenyon Green. Kenyon Green has to go out and win that job over a decent veteran, solid veteran over the course of his career. So if there's one move in free agency that I would have made if I was Caserio is Risner. I would have brought in a guard that would at least compete with Kenyon Green. And if he got beat out by Kenyon Green, then he's my swing guard.
There you go. I mean, that's not a bad idea at all.
I think it's too late, though. I know he's still attainable. I know he's still a free agent, but I think it's a move that you would have already made.
Yeah. All right. Well, now that me and BT got our arguments out of the way, let's get to
Juice Scruggs. One more thing on Juice Scruggs.
Go ahead. Yeah,
I agree with everything you said about Juice Scruggs. And this is why I probably disagree with Crenshaw a little bit about winning the division. The Texans are super young at very critical positions. Like, it is so hard to win with a rookie quarterback. I think everything you said about a center, it's like the second quarterback on the offense. I completely agree. It's hard to win with a rookie center. So, like, the Texans being young, quarterback center exchange, that concerns me a little bit too in terms of winning football games. I think the Texans will be competitive. I think they're going to be competitive. I'd be stunned if they won the division. But I think they're going to be competitive, not because they lack talent, because I think a lot of these players, like right now we're seeing a bunch of top 10 position groups and top 25 quarterback tight ends and all this stuff. And we're not seeing a whole lot of Texans. That's because they're young and they're going to grow into that. We're going to see a bunch of Texans in the next 3 to 5 years on those lists. But winning next year in 2023, when you have a rookie quarterback, when you have a rookie center, when you don't have really any idea with what you're doing at wide receiver, I think it's going to be difficult.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult to win consistently. I think we're going to see a week in here or there 4 or 5 times where it's like, wow, this team's got a chance to be really good next year or the year after that. but to consistently win with a rookie quarterback, a rookie center, a first-year offensive coordinator, a first-year head coach, that's asking a lot.
I think Drew Scruggs will be as good his rookie year, like was it Lindor for the Jaguars and the Ravens center of last year. I think they're going to be top. I think he's going to be a top tier center. I think he'll end the year top 10 center wise. I've been high on him in the draft. I know a lot of people have, but pass wise, I think he's by far the best rookie out there. So hopefully I'm right. Hopefully I'm not wrong.
Right too.
Yeah, because if I'm wrong, BT's going to jump all over me. And I'm not
I can see him. He's already getting ready. He's on the edge of the seat. I see him.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to our fan favorite.
I have a few more grays and pounds since that picture.
Oh, no. Then quit it. You're all right.
Where'd y'all find that?
BT is our detective. You have to ask him. He goes everywhere. At least it's the correct picture, right, Jeremy?
It's the correct one this time.
Not about that. You made the list, BT. You're on Bad Take Boulevard for getting the wrong thing of me. I thought it was funny. I thought it was great.
Well, let's kick it off, BT. BT, you got a question for Jeremy?
Speaking of Bad Take Boulevard, so you had famously said that you would have traded Deshaun Watson for the colors and the history.
I noticed you said famously and not infamously. So on my side here.
I guess I should have said infamously, right? So after what has transpired with Deshaun Watson, but you actually saw him on the field, where are you now with that take? Do you feel like that you're justified with that take because of everything that happened? Or do you feel like because he was so good on the field that it was a bad take? Where are you now years after you said that?
I said this post sexual misconduct-y stuff. So this was after he was, demanding a trade and, we didn't know if he was going to play football again. I don't even know what brought up the conversation. I'm pretty sure it was some hypothetical segment or something, but it was big picture. It's like, look, I don't care at all about Deshaun Watson. Give me the colors and call it a day. It was more of a 100-year trade than a 10-year trade because, you're obviously not getting any players, but you're bringing back the nostalgia of the Columbia blue and the Love You Oilers and all that stuff. So I don't remember why I said it, what we were talking about, but look, I'm a sucker for the Oilers. I grew up on the Oilers. I love the Oilers. I was at the Astrodome watching Warren Moon. I remember when they benched him for Cody Carlson, Haywood Jeffries, Ernest Gibbon, all of them. I grew up on the Oilers. I love the Oilers.
Blaine Bishop,
Oilers. So it was one of those things like, would I trade Deshaun for the franchise, the Houston Oilers? And to me, I thought it was a no-brainer. I would take the Oilers back in a heartbeat. Never move the city. Get rid of Bud Adams. Blanking on McNair's name, not Cal McNair, but his father, Bob McNair.
Bob.
Yeah, like if I had it my way, Bob McNair buys the Oilers from Bud Adams, and the Oilers continue forever. We never have the Texans. That ideally in a perfect world, alternate reality, that's what I would have wanted. So would I trade Deshaun Watson for all that? Yeah, 100 times.
I hate seeing Earl Kimball in the record books as the Titans. Like it's just not. It makes me sick to my stomach. Like he doesn't eat mayo. He don't belong nowhere near a Titans. Like come on.
Yeah, it makes me sick.
But at the end of the day, we got 3 first-round picks and more, right? So even now, you're saying you're still okay with that, knowing that we got 3 first-round picks, and that allowed us to get Will Anderson, Damian Pierce, basically are some of the greatest players that we think are going to or will be hopefully our greatest players on the squad?
I think it's difficult to have this conversation because one's real and one's not, right? Like trading Deshaun Watson for the Oilers, I don't think was ever an offer that Nick Caserio was thinking about. But would I have rather had Bob McNair buy the Oilers from Bud Adams before he ever moved into Tennessee? Steve McNair stays an Oiler. Eddie George stays an Oiler.
You go to the Super Bowl.
Stays an Oiler. You go to a Super Bowl. You're a yard short. They probably win it if they're in Houston instead of Nashville. I'm kidding. But would I rather have that alternate reality then have the Texans 20-something years in franchise existence. Deshaun Watson, arguably the best quarterback, demands trade. I get 3 first-rounders for him. Yeah, I think I'd rather have that alternate reality.
Okay. All right.
Chris, you got a question for Mr. Brennan?
Yeah, I got 2. What's a famous call you had at U of H, and tell us something about Tank Dell that we don't know about.
Okay. I'll start with the call. It's difficult for me because I don't like the calls are hard because you're kind of in the moment of all this. The most recent one, probably whenever Houston beat Memphis, college basketball, at the buzzer, late regular season, Jamal Shedd hit the buzzer beater in Memphis. You had 18,000 people. Memphis doesn't like the Cougars. They're on the cusp of beating one of the top teams in the country, and Jamal Shedd comes down the floor, hits a shot from the elbow. Cougars win, Cougars win, Cougars win, and I'm the only person in FedEx Forum yelling. So that one's up there this year. Going to the Final Four was awesome. I mean, you make a call where you win an Elite Eight game to punch your ticket into the Final Four. That's pretty sweet. Beat Memphis with a half-court buzzer beater, Tremont Mark, during the COVID year. That one's a little different because the arena was, at reduced capacity, so you didn't have like the full buzz of an arena. But you hit a half-court shot to win at the buzzer. That one's up there. I remember college baseball. Houston Cougars were playing in a Baton Rouge regional in 2014, an LSU team that had Alex Bregman, it had Aaron Nola, really good team. Houston had no business beating them. Nobody expected Houston to beat them. And Alex Box Stadium for college baseball is one of the best venues in all of the sport. And Houston in a Game 7 Monday night, winner goes on, loser season over. Houston went into Alex Box Stadium and shut up 12,000 Cajuns. That was pretty cool. Peach Bowl was pretty cool, but I wasn't on the calls on the sideline. So those are the ones that stick out to me. Sorry for the run-on answer there. As far as Tank, you guys know where he got his nickname?
I do not.
No, I think it was something about back in the day, right? His grandma or something.
So there's 2 different stories. One's Holgerson's story. He says that people called him Tank because he was tough, which is true. But the first person that ever called him Tank was his mom. And she called him Tank because he had a big head for a baby. He's Tank Dell, and his name's Tank, not Nathaniel. He goes by Tank, and he asked everybody to call him Tank, not Nathaniel, because he was a big-headed baby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's but for on the field, really hard worker. Like he's somebody, because you go back to his first year here, it would have been Marquez Stevenson. Marquez Stevenson, Speedy, we called him. It was drafted by Buffalo, has been hurt, really hasn't had a chance to play a whole lot. He was the number 1, and Tank was brought in from JUCO. He's the number 2 guy, and he had a good year, but not a year that would get you drafted number 3, anything like that. And then when he was the number 1, he took the job and ran. I mean, he was one of the best receivers in college football. He wasn't Power 5, but I love Tank Dell. And when the Texans drafted Tank Dell, I mean, I was celebrating. I think I was calling a Houston Cougar baseball game, and I was celebrating like I couldn't say anything, but I was like, yeah, Tank. I love Tank Dell. I love the pick so much.
I have same. The separation is by far the best out of the rookies, I think. So we'll see. I
don't think he could have played in the NFL 10 years ago. I remember Ted Pardee is the color guy for football. Kevin Eschenfelder does play-by-play. And we always go down on the field before the game, like during warm-ups with Houston Cougar games on the radio team. And I remember I would have conversations with Ted. And I would just watch Tank during warm-ups like, this guy's NFL good. Because no one, he's tiny. I mean, he's very small. And everybody's like, this guy's not an NFL guy. He doesn't have an NFL body. And I'm watching him just beat every single corner that he goes up against. No one can touch him. This guy's NFL good. This guy's going to play in the league. I'm not sure he could have 10 years ago or 15 years ago.
We're school and right.
Yeah. Like the rules, just the way that, offenses play now, like his timing's good because 10, 15 years ago, I'm not sure he plays in the league. Now, I remember I talked to Holgerson I do the Holgerson coaches shows too. And during a break, we were talking about Tank. And I was like, look, Tank's NFL good, right? He's like, oh yeah, he's really good. And, small receiver that you think about is Tyreek Hill. And I was like, I told Dan, I was like, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Tyreek Hill. Not, 40 speed. He's not as fast as Tyreek. Tyreek's fastest in the world from point A to point B. And Tank's not the fastest guy point A to point B. We saw that with his 40 time. But where Tank separates himself in his athleticism is his shiftiness. He is so quick from, point A, point B, point C, going from left to right, running a quick slant. So I think he's going to present matchup problems in the NFL. I'm fascinated how the Texans use him. Having Metsy around, it's like, do you have two of the same guy? So I'm fascinated to see what they do.
I really hope it's the Debo route, like reverses.
He's not as big though, right? Like
right.
Debo's thickness.
Right. But still, I think he's going to use reverses out of the back. I think they're going to do a lot, even like Pacheco over there in KC. Like I think they're going to mix it up. At least I hope. I mean, the guy could be like a Swiss Army knife.
He's not a between the tackle guy though. So if you're doing that, it's got to be on the edge.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you that too. So. But you're right. He's a smaller guy, but he's not like Bryce Young's frame. Like his frame is a little bit better. Like it don't match his size, if that makes sense. Like he does look a little bit bigger for a guy his size, compared to Bryce Young, where Bryce Young looks like a junior higher out there.
I look like a guy bigger than my size too.
All right. Well, my question for you, Jeremy, if you can watch any movie on repeat, line for line. Which one is it?
This is tough. See, I love movies. I don't watch movies over and over again. I feel like they're a waste of time. There's a hot take for you. If I'm watching a movie over and over and over again, though, it's probably got to be a comedy, right? Like a drama, like something with Denzel. Like I love American Gangster. I love Training Day. Can I watch that on repeat over and over my entire life? Probably not. Love The Departed. I don't think I could watch that over and over again. So I probably have to go something funny. What is my favorite comedy? I like Office Space. That's a throwback.
Oh, that does not get the love it deserves.
No salt on my margarita at the final scene. I think I could watch that one over and over again. I was thinking that. I was thinking, Wedding Crashers, maybe Old School. I'm gonna go, since I'm a throwback kind of guy. At least I like to think of myself that way. I'm gonna go with Office Space.
Yeah, okay. I don't think it's the love it deserves.
That was the first one that came to mind.
It was great. It was fantastic.
Jennifer Aniston.
Another one. She's a good-looking woman. Jeremy, man, thanks for coming on the show. We greatly appreciate it. VT, are we doing this winner live?
Yeah. Do you want to ask Jeremy, since he doesn't really know these people, so people won't think that we're favoring someone that we know? Yeah. Jeremy, do you want to just pick someone at random from any of these comments? Not based on what they comment, just anybody, and we'll contact them on YouTube and give them their tickets.
Can I get rid of this one guy who is real nasty towards me? I'm just kidding. I don't think anybody was. I'll go Vera. Can I go Vera?
Yeah.
Vera, okay. I saw Vera commenting earlier. Is that random enough?
That's random. We'll contact them on Twitter. So Vera, you won the camp tickets, and we'll contact you on not Twitter, on YouTube, so you can collect them. So congratulations to Vera.
Yes, sir. All right, Jeremy. Well, again, man, thank you for your help. Thank you for coming on. We love what you do. Want you to show everybody else where they can find you so they become fans of you as well.
You don't want to do that. You can listen to 97.5 noon to 3 at Jeremy Branham on Twitter. I like to argue. So if you want to argue with me, we can argue. Thanks for having me on. This was fun. Anytime you guys want to do this, I'm game. This was cool.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to us. So we'll keep you up to that. Promise. BT, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Twitter or Threads at Brown Chubby Bear. I'm actually starting to use Threads a little bit more. We need more Texans fans, though. So you can find me there. If you guys are only watching this, like on YouTube or Facebook or on Twitter, you guys need to get the actual audio podcast, because that's where me and Leo do Texans After Hours. So you're missing out on that whole show if you're not subscribed to the actual audio podcast. So you can find me there as well. And you can find my articles at fanbattlesports.com.
Crenshaw, where can they find you at?
You can find me at Fifth Ward Crenshaw. And Jeremy, can you give me an underrated dish at U of H? Food dish.
Underrated dish?
Food dish at U of H. Underrated one that people don't know about.
Can I go off campus a little bit?
Yes, off campus. Anywhere in Third Ward, anywhere.
Have you heard of Mandola's?
Ooh, yes.
I haven't heard of Mandola's. I can't.
Mandola's is on the other side of 45 from U of H, probably 3 miles or so. Really good Italian lunch spot. Really, really good.
Okay, I got to put that on my list then.
Mandola's. Yeah.
Well, there you go. You know, I'm a big fatty. I love Mendoza. So, you know, you can find me at A1 Day One Texans. And of course, guys, you can find the show at Texans Fan Battle everywhere. Make sure you get on the website, fanbattlesports.com. Until then, guys, y'all have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next week.
This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for